Here we go, still riding the roller coaster on the seesaw of ups and downs, good mood, low mood, joy, elation, excitement, and oh, can I go on? Over dramatizing. But I've mentioned this before, I think. I just feel trapped where I am. In my life, in work, in, dare I say it, in relationship. Trapped, I just feel I can't. I don't have the will or the tools to move on. Do I want to move on? I don't know. I don't have answers to this, but I just know that it's not right. It's not right for me, and it's not right for my wife. I'm not good for her. I'm not good company. I'm not good companion. Sorry, itching. I find it difficult to be with her. I can't talk to her. She can't talk to me. If we try and talk, it causes eruptions, explosions on her part. And I know it's partly me. It is that I'm not communicating. I never have. But it's not good. Example, she was out on, I lose track of the days. What day was it? Monday, bank holiday Monday. She was out doing some music thing. I'd forgotten this, yes. She wanted me to drive her to the station, which means driving to the station, coming back, waiting around till I get a phone call at the end of the day at a time unknown to go and pick her up from the station and bring her back, which is it's basically a tie. It means all day I have to be available. I had told her quite clearly that I wasn't taking to the station. She'd have to find her own way. Well, early on Monday morning, she woke me up. And this is actually worse than it sounds because I have recent years, recent months, years, been enjoying some pretty amazing dreams, and I've been able to record them, which is a first for me, something I've never been able to do before. And then I'd had a period of a month or so when I'd had nothing to record. And then Monday morning, I think Sunday as well, but Monday morning, I had dreams and I was in the midst of an amazing dream. And she woke me up and said, "Are you going to take me to the station?" And I could really have done without that, particularly since I'd made my position quite clear. So I had to say, "No, I will not take you to the station." And you woke me up in the middle of a dream. Not taken well, atmosphere. She went. Now I had a very unusual for me also a Zoom meeting talking about we call it toad medicine. If you know, you know, and you probably know more than me, which I really wanted to attend, which I couldn't share with my wife because this just isn't her thing at all. She tolerates my interest, but she actually disapproves and gets a bit upset about it, which is fine. We're different. We have different attitudes on this, but the difference is getting to be a bit of an issue. I hadn't told her about the meeting. I was only aware of it really the day before, and only during the day decided I was going to attend. So I didn't say anything. The meeting started at 7 or something, and I became aware before it started that she was likely to be coming home while it was going on. So I sent her a message. Look, I'm going to be upstairs on this meeting. Don't disturb me, please. And I left her a note. Sorry, I'm just itching. This is the work evening itching, which is intolerable. I left her a note downstairs saying the same thing. And so I attended the meeting. Difficult for me. I don't mix with people. I can't talk in groups. And this is another thing going back to school days. If somebody is talking, saying something to which I want to listen or should be listening, I switch off. I've done this since I was a teenager. Even if it's something I either want or need to hear, I just switch off. And it's a real struggle to stay concentrating. So I got very little out of the meeting, unfortunately. But I think during it, I got a message about, have I eaten? And I think I replied that I ate earlier in the day and I wasn't going to eat this evening. Now that caused stored up upset for later. During the meeting, my friend B was there as well, and she started contacting me on Telegram during this Zoom meeting, and I get distracted and I talk to her, and then she chatted to me on private chat on the Zoom, which is allowing my meeting to be sabotaged. My bad. But that's irrelevant. Anyway, my wife came home during the meeting, saw my note. She hadn't seen the text message I sent her, saw the note, got upset, did herself some food, didn't enjoy it. Itch. Anyway, the meeting finished. I came downstairs and she was eating. She was obviously cross. Then she started telling me about her day. And this is the extensive debriefing thing, which I find, excuse me, very difficult because she has to talk and I have to listen. But I can't interact if I ask a question to try and clarify something. She resents it, and rather than just clarifying a point, yes, no, I did, I didn't, whatever, she goes right back to the beginning and starts again. And it's exhausting. And I have spent so much of the last 27, 28 years doing this, providing a vital service, but I can't speak. My voice isn't heard. We used to go every other Friday, go and visit her mother when her mother was not well, living 3.5 hours drive away. I would pick my wife up from work. This is getting to be a bit of a moan, which isn't the intention, but it's just an illustration. Pick her up after work and then 3.5 hours drive, and that whole 3.5 hours would be non-stop relation of the minutiae of her workday. And it was exhausting. Anyway, on Monday evening, she was doing this, but she was sitting in the kitchen at the stool at the table in the kitchen, talking to me about her day. So I came and sat in here and tried to listen. I couldn't really hear because she was eating and she can't talk and eat at the same time. And the guitar was there and I picked up the guitar and just started playing with it. And I wasn't listening. I admit I wasn't listening, which was bad of me. Anyway, the whole thing caused a lot of atmosphere, not good atmosphere, which persisted into the next day. Anyway, eventually she relented and shared her debriefing from Monday, I think sometime late on Tuesday, might have been Tuesday evening. and then things are all right. I don't know how I got to this point, but it's me. I know it's me, but it's just not working for me. She has to do the debriefing. She spends all her time when she's not working on music holiday stuff of one form or another, either going on holidays or arranging a holiday. She can't talk to me. She can't listen to me because she says she's too busy. She's doing this. No, she can't. Doesn't hear anything, although she will hear certain things, twist them round into negatives and use them as, sorry, this itching, as perceived attacks on her against which I can't defend myself. So there's no space for me to communicate. If I try, I'm either ignored or something I've said is taken wrongly and turned into a contentious issue. And yet I'm here. I'm here. I listen to these immense debriefings. The other day, I was out and I got a notification on the phone that she'd bought a flight, basically. So money going to Ryanair. And when I got home, she told me about this. And it wasn't until she'd been talking for 20 minutes, half an hour, that I realised that what she was telling me was not about the flight she'd booked, but about all the flights she hadn't booked. And she hadn't even got onto the one she had booked. And this is what it's like. It's just, she needs to do this. I understand that. But it's very difficult for me to be on the receiving end all the time. It's exhausting. I try and help, but I have to switch off because it doesn't make sense. It's not a linear story. It jumps around, then it goes into another story. And I try and ask, because I need to understand. Well, I can two ways. I can try and understand, or I can just sit and just, yeah, really, and just not listen, let it go over my head, which I find difficult because I want to try and understand what she's saying. So I ask for clarification, and she either gets arsy because I've not been listening, she thinks, or as I said earlier, she'll go back to rather than just clarify that point, she'll go right back to the beginning and start again. And I think I am very patient and very tolerant. But it's exhausting and there's no room for me. I don't want to be the centre of attention. I don't need to have everything I said heard, but just a bit of give and take. And this other thing whereby she will ask me about something, about what I've done, where I've been, and it'll be really aggressive, direct questioning. And I'm very bad with that. I find it difficult to talk anyway, but when I'm confronted by that, I dry up and I can't talk. I even become resentful. But in this situation, I know it's serving a purpose. She gets the formality out of the way. She asks about my day. I say a little bit, and then she can just drop that and then just get on with her talk. So I know there's no interest, really. I didn't think this was going to go this way when I started. But here I am. I'm trapped. I have no voice. When I try and express myself, it causes explosions and tension. So I keep quiet. And I listen, I have to listen. And besides the listening, there's the constant, what are we going to do about? When are we going to do? Which translated means, what are you going to do about? When are you going to do this? And it's always me. So tiring. There is no relaxation. A month or so ago, I was very rarely went and sat in the garden with a book on my own for some peace and quiet. And she came and joined me, bought a drink. That's nice. But we don't have conversation. So she came and sat down with me with a drink. Not talk about general things, but straight away, what are we going to do about the garden? What are we going to do about the field? We haven't got sheep. What are we going to do about the grazing? And it is not what are we going to do, it's what am I going to do? So we can't talk. And yes, I accept this is partly me, because I don't communicate, and I have got to communicate less for reasons which I might try and cover in another video one day. But opportunities when we might talk, when we might just have general talk about nice things, it's always basically what I should be doing, what I haven't done, or what she's doing and what she wants to tell me. This is what I mean when I say there's no communication. And it is partly me. But for me, it's made worse because of the way that she communicates. Just feels a dead end, and it's got to the point where I don't actually want to say anything about myself to her. And this, I talked about this in another video. There are trust issues with my wife, which go back 27 years or whatever. Breaches of trust, and knowing that I can't trust her because she'll always get a better offer. I can't rely on her. I know this all makes me sound awful, and I am awful. But get back to the thing, I'm trapped. I'm not heard. I'm doing a job which I'm finding it difficult because I don't enjoy it. Information that would enable me to be more proactive in the work is withheld. And then there's resentment that builds up. Going back to Monday, stay with this current week. Monday, 2 days ago, when she went out for the day, she did what she will almost invariably do in this situation. When it's a working week, she'll say, "Oh, can you make 7 batches of breadcrumbs with cheese? Can you make a cake? Can you make a pasty filling?" In other words, can you stay at home and work while I go out and enjoy myself doing music? And yes, I do resent this. I could easily do some of this work, and I do some of it. But can you understand that I'm a bit resentful? That she will say, "I'm going out for a day of fun and pleasure. You're staying at home. You spend the time at home working." Because I resent it, because when she comes back, we'll both be working. So if she has her time off, I don't. she would argue, well, she wouldn't, but I could, speaking for her, say, well, what do you do with your time off? I read, play with the internet, take drugs. Don't do much. Some of it is stuff I want to do, some of it is self-sabotage. But it's my time to do with what I want. She has her time to do what she wants. This is my time to do what I want. And yet, it should be working. Even if I weren't doing the things that I've been asked to do, I know that I have other things to do, like the self-employment accounts for both of us. I need to do that, so that takes up time which would be otherwise my free time, because there isn't time to do it when we're together. Trapped, no escape, nowhere to go. We are in the situation where when we got together, I had a bit of money, she had none. Then we've got periods when she's worked, I've been self-employed, not earned much. I've worked, she's been off with stress, depression, and other stuff, and then she'd done self-employment, which was a hobby really, me working. Then I would help her with that after work and still work full time. Then I gave up the job for various reasons, and we both worked on this self-employment. Where was I going here? Money. Oh yes, money. During the course of our relationship, she has inherited money from a distant aunt and from her father and then from her mother. I have no expectations in that respect. But I'm always been aware it's her money. And the house is, although we both paid the mortgage, deposits, the bulk of the money came from her inherited money. So I know that also it suits me to know that I have nothing. I own very little. All the money is hers, basically. Which is fine. I don't really want someone else's inherited money. But it leaves me in this awkward situation in that I have nothing. I have no job outside what I do here. I have no money outside what is my wife's and a tiny pittance from my self-employment years ago. Really not enough to live on for a week. So things difficult. An option would be for me to say, right, I'm leaving you with the house and all your money and going off on my own. I would feel bad that I'm walking out on her. I know that she would find that difficult. But another factor is I don't have any source of income. I don't have any money. I don't have any source of income. I would have to get a job at 63 with no skills. It would mean working in I don't know, filling shelves in a supermarket or driving. And I've got to a point where I've demonstrated that I can't work with other people. I'm not able to, relate to or interact with other people. In my last employment, the last two, it got gradually worse and worse and worse, and it was ultimately untenable, and I had to leave. I would find it difficult to work, even if I could find work that would pay. I'd have to have somewhere to live, which means I would have to put down a deposit, find rent. I would need probably need to run a car, because living around here there isn't really public transport, and unless I can live right next to this nebulous job I might find, I'd be a bit buggered, because I'd have to either pay for the non-existent public transport or I need to run a car. So I am, to a certain extent, trapped in this relationship. Sounds dramatic, but I basically have nothing. So even if I wanted to get out, and I wouldn't, I mean, she's talked about just going and leaving. I couldn't let her do that because everything is hers. I, so I couldn't stay and sell the house. Plus, there's another thing, we would find it difficult to sell the house because we got arsehole neighbours, but that's another issue. And also, I couldn't leave her with that, with this unsaleable house. So I'm trapped. Now, I know at one time my friend B would have been willing to give me somewhere to stay, to tide me over. But she has now, the scales have fallen from her eyes, and she realizes what I've always known, that it would never work, a relationship with her, which is a matter of deep and intense sadness for me. But I've known that it couldn't. We are not compatible. There have been times when I thought it could have worked, but I've always known it wouldn't. And she has more recently, come to realise from her point of view, or share with me, that she knows that it wouldn't work. Although she has obviously thought at one time, she claims she told me, but she thought at one time that she could live with me. But had she told me that, I would have known that she was deluding herself, and it couldn't have happened. But that would have been a potential refuge, if only as a short-term thing. Even if it hadn't been any sort of formal living together relationship, it would have been somewhere, a roof over my head, whilst I was sorting myself out, which she did offer in, sorry, itching, so many words. But that's not there even. So even that little ray of hope of a roof over my head is gone. So I stay here and try and make it work. But can I try and make it work? Is the rift such that it can't be healed? Do I want to heal it? I don't want to fall out with my wife, but I just feel it's got to the point where there is virtually nothing between us. She would say that I've changed. I would say that we've both changed, but she won't accept that. So we just settle for the fact that I've changed and I've made it not work. But I don't know. I do care for her. I don't want to do anything to hurt her or make life difficult for her. So I stay, and we're both uncomfortable. I've got to stop. This is half an hour, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I've got to go to bed and then get up at 5:30, and I haven't finished the washing up yet. So I don't know. All you people out there who follow this closely, tell me, what can I do? What do I do to solve this? Another complication from my side is that I've said this explicitly. I can't cope with people, and on my own I would be buggered, basically. It's got to the point where I can't talk or form relationships with people, and I don't know how to solve that. I don't know even if I want to. So where do I go? What do I do? Over to you out there. You let me know. Come up with some ideas. It's, it's crazy. I'm trapped. I don't know where I'm going. That'll do for tonight. When am I going to upload this? I need half an hour with good broadband. Maybe Friday morning if I'm lucky. And this was only going to be a little short one I could upload overnight. Just a final word. I'm aware that what I have is very much a third world problem. I'm lucky. I've got a roof over my head. I've got food. I've got a vehicle I can drive. I have employment that doesn't pay the bills. I've got reasonable health. I am incredibly lucky. I'm privileged, and I'm grateful for that. And there are so many people who are worse off and really stuck in toxic relationships, toxic situations. And I feel for them. I'm obviously being dramatic here, but in my own little way, I am trapped in a privileged way. Well, thank you for listening to the end. Does anyone ever listen to the end? Has anyone out there ever heard the last words of one of my videos? If you have, just drop me a message. Say, I heard you say goodbye. I'd like that. Goodbye.